Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Velero community meeting and open discussion meeting. Today is July 14th, 2020. I'll be your host today, Jonas Rosland, and with me we have the Velero team and the Velero community. So thank you all for joining today. Let's roll and get started with some status updates. I'll share my screen so you all can see it as well. One sec. Oh, thanks. You can go. All right. So to start off, we have Ashish.
For me, I was on community support last week, had a bunch of issues to triage and some PRs to review and quite a few interactions on Slack with folks. So I was doing that. Last week, we also got the fix to the CRD version capturing bug that we surfaced, and that's in our 142 release that we published yesterday. And then, I got a few PRs out. PRs reviewed. The volume snapshot progress design proposal is now merged. And thank you, Vishnu, for your patience on that. And I think the proposal from Foong that is almost ready for merge. And I took a couple of passes at carlisia's PR of the backup storage location controller. I thought I pasted the link. Apparently I didn't. I'm going to do a final review of that today. Apart from that, there was a long-standing issue in the CSI repo where it was not, if there were multiple volume snapshot classes for a single storage provider, the plugin would pick the first one that matched the driver name. So I put in a PR to let folks add a label on that, and Velero will look at a label to select the volume snapshot class to use. So I have that PR out for review. So if folks want to take a look, please do. So that is mainly to let people control like the deletion policies on the volume snapshot class. So happy to answer more questions about it if anybody has any. And that is all my status updates.
All right. Any questions, comments for Ashish? So would you like some reviews on this one?
Yes, please, the PR.
Yep, perfect. So the PR number 60.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. Next up, we have Carlisia.
I'm on community support this week, and the VSL controller PR is still sitting there. It's blocking the external contribution, and it's sort of blocking my other conversions of controllers.
I will take a look at that, Carlisia. I'm sorry.
Okay. Do you need anything from the rest of the team and the community members here?
I need for it to be revealed.
Sounds good. Any questions, comments for Carlisia? All right. Next up, we have Nolan.
Yeah, been working on been working on some internal stuff last week. Got v1.4.2 out. Kind of skipped over 1.4.1. There was a little hiccup with the transition between Travis and GitHub Actions with 1.4.1, so we had to move up to 1.4.2. There's some fixes for CRD backups there, as well as some issues for additional backup item actions when the item can't be found on the cluster. As far as this week, I'm going to try to help get caught up on the GitHub issues. I know we're a little bit behind on those. And also, there's a bunch of PRs out there. I know we really need to get the backup controller or BSL controller in and I'd like to get final reviews in on a couple of the design PRs, particularly the restore hooks design, so we can start implementation of that. And then also on the docket this week is getting the master to main transition work done. It looks like most of the documentation fixes are done, but I want to take another pass through code to make sure any branch, any scripts or anything that reference branches or things like that are updated. And I think that's most of what I've got.
Do you need any assistance with the transition here? Master to main?
I don't believe so. The main thing that's going to happen, so the main thing that will happen for folks that have in the community is instead of just renaming master domain, we're going to create a new main branch and update open PRs to point to that. If you have merge conflicts already, you'll still have merge conflicts, but I was gonna myself and hopefully the team, we could make some time to edit those PRs and just redirect them and then close down the master branch. So this will be less disruptive than what we talked about last meeting. So I don't think there's going to be as much noticeable to contributors.
All right, sounds good. Any questions, comments for Nolan? All right, then we're diving into the discussion topics. We got Emmet here on the call. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, how are you doing, Jonas? I actually don't know. I just added it there at the last moment. It's an issue that we have open for a couple of weeks on the GitHub there in relation to cacert integration. Again, I'm not too sure. This is my first time in the community discussion. I'm not too sure if this is the right forum for it.
Welcome.
Thanks very much. We're using a Rancher environment, and what we've had to do, we're using the latest, well, we're not using 1.4.2, we're using 1.4. In order to pass the certificate to the Velero installation, we have to annotate the deployment. There doesn't seem to be an option in the Helm chart to include the cacert. I could be wrong on that. From what I've seen, there isn't anyway. So we've added the annotation AWS_CA_bundle to point to a persistent volume that we add and stick the cert in there. That manages to get the Velero deployment to have some visibility on our internal S3, but it doesn't seem to pass it to the restic deployment. So we've tried various different methods of trying to force the restic deployment to see the certificate by adding a second, by re-adding the repo from the restic deployment manually, by adding the certificate in the same way as we do with the Velero deployment, but no matter what, can't seem to get restic to recognize the certificate, so we're having to do our backups over HTTP. And that's where we're at. Again, I'm not too sure if this is the forum for it. If you want to address it in the actual GitHub issue, that's fine.
Yeah, I think, go ahead.
No,
Go ahead,
I
Carlisia.
thought we had added that to Helm. I'll have to look.
Just doing a quick search on the commits for the Helm chart, I don't see it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not there. Yeah, I'll have to double check, and we can, this is one of those areas where I had intended to go through the GitHub issues, but yeah, we can definitely
that's
revisit. And I think the Helm chart might be missing some feature parity right now.
Yes, especially with like really flags up added in certain releases. We don't, we have not done like, we have not been on top of keeping that at par. So we need to do that.
Sure, that's fine. That can be addressed in the GitHub ticket itself. I don't want to eat up the community time here.
No, don't worry about that. This is great. Thank you for bringing this up.
I did see another, there is another ticket. I think it's actually on the VMware Tanzu Helm page in relation to a CA cert option for the Helm chart. So I think I linked it on my ticket there. But there is an issue there for it as well. Yeah, it's the second one there. There it is there. So it's the same. Same topic. I'm sure there's something I'm missing to get to force restic, but no matter what, it does seem to be a manual process to have to get restic to look for the CA cert option. Velero doesn't seem to pass the cert to the restic deployment.
I definitely seem to recall we've had similar discussions about this a few months ago.
I think that was when we were implementing the CA support, custom CA integration. But let's triage this issue and figure out what's going on. It'll be hard to triage it live.
Yeah, we can dig through this on the ticket itself. Thanks
So
very much anyway.
Yeah, and I dropped documentation in on this into the Zoom chat. I do remember the code changes had the code had changes to restic. The intention is to pass this down to restic. There were changes meant to pass the custom cert to the restic commands that Velero issues, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we couldn't have a bug or something.
I did follow. I just saw the link that you said there. I did do a manual Velero install rather than using the Helm chart with the CA cert option, and unfortunately, it still didn't push it down to the restic pod. Yeah. Okay. No matter how hard I'm trying, I don't know. Maybe if it's something related to our rancher environment.
Okay, yeah.
But I configured the I deployed it directly from the node, so completely avoiding the rancher environment using the velero install command, just to try and kind of rule Rancher out of the equation.
Sure.
But I did. It still didn't push it down to the pod, to the restic pod.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll leave it with you guys.
Thank you so much, Emmet. All right. Does anyone have any other discussion topics for today that you want to bring up? All right, then we're diving into contributor shoutouts. Nolan?
Yeah, so Abby added a from VMware added a style guide. This is for writing documentation and blog posts and just any kind of prose, I guess, words for for anything Velero related. So we're going to try to follow this. Thank you very much, Abby, for contributing this. So if you're adding documentation or blog posts or things like that, use this as a reference and try to follow this. And we will try to follow this as well for doing reviews. Yeah, and again, thank you very much, Abby, for spearheading this. And like it says at the top, it's based off the Kubernetes style guide, but it is adapted from that. It's not an exact replica. Next we have this was Fire the Stars. This was for the, I think this was for the AWS plugin. So we got it says multi-arch, but it's mostly for ARM builds. So we have ARM builds now for the AWS plugin. We had ARM builds for core Velero. We have not made new releases for any of the plugins with 1.4.2, but we will definitely have ones for 1.5. No guarantees yet on any plugin releases between now and then, but thank you very much for getting this in. This is very helpful for people who aren't running on the standard AMD 64 architecture. And then finally, we've got a fix for our page rendering from E. Hashman. Arlena, thank you very much for this. This just fixes some rendering on our, this right here was not rendering in fixed width because there were some missing backticks. So thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you.
On the multi-arch image building PR, though we don't have a release with those changes, the images for those should be available on Docker Hub with like the master tag.
All right.
Yep.
Just in case anybody runs into this and wants to use the images.
Okay. Does anyone have anything else to add for the meeting today? All right. Short one today. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and have a fantastic rest of the week, everyone.
Hey, Jonas, hold on just 1 second before
Sure.
you draw off. Really quickly, Carlisia, you sent an email to the channel, to the Google group about APIs. Is that something that might be worthwhile to talk a little bit about today, or should we just push that discussion for another day?
I don't know how we could handle this. We probably should mention it at every minute, at every meeting. So that wasn't a new issue. That was an issue that we talked back a few weeks ago. We started talking about this. We are going to start moving code out of package that are public. So just, I guess we should add it to the discussion every meeting. Nolan, what do you think?
Sorry, I lost my Zoom.
So just
Yeah, I should probably just add it there every week and just bring it up. That's been my intention, and I just keep forgetting. Yeah, just a reminder. This will be an ongoing thing.
Yeah, and essentially there's two things that we're doing, right? So number one is that there were a set of private APIs that Velero had, which are no longer going to be maintained. They could be changed, and if there are entities or users or automation that made use of them, would like to know, because they're private and they shouldn't be used. So that was one part. And the second one is there are public APIs that potentially that you might want to change as well, right? So was it only the former thing, which is private APIs that people used as if they were public APIs and they were not supposed to be maintained?
It's mostly the prior thing. The public APIs that we have, what we think of public APIs, the ones that are intentionally public are the ones listed there. And right now we are not thinking of changing them.
Okay, so we should basically say, if you're using APIs of Velero that were accessible to you, but they were not documented, those are not public, they're private, they could change, let us know, because you'll be impacted and you will get deprecated.
Yes, that would be very accurate. If they're not documented here on this issue. Yeah,
you might want to restructure your email from yesterday as well to indicate that. I know you added the GitHub ticket, but make it clear to them, because you mentioned they were making changes to the Velero public API, and that confused me as well, because I was thinking, oh, we're also changing the public API on top of the private ones being deprecated.
I don't think I said that, Michael. I'll check. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I'll check.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, maybe I misunderstood it, but yeah, excellent. Let's talk about it in every community meeting. Let's make sure our community is aware that these changes are coming, and some folks may be impacted, and hopefully we can work with them to reduce that impact. Thank you, Nolan and Carlisia.
And I think 90% of the code that people are using is right here. So I think we're well covered here. But again, if you're using stuff that you don't see listed here, please comment on the issue. Let us know. Yeah, just gonna keep saying it. If we don't know that you're using it, it runs the risk of getting moved into this internal directory and not getting exposed any longer.
Sounds good. Thank you, Michael, for bringing it up. Any other last questions, comments for the meeting today? All right, then we're finishing now. Thank you all for joining. Have a fantastic rest of the week. See you all next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks very much, guys.
Hey, everyone.